Hi, welcome back to
Common Roots.
I am Caitlin. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the herbalist and podcast researcher.
I am Cheshire. My pronouns are also she, her, and I'm my wife's familiar.
She is my wife, my familiar, my assistant, and my everything.
Oh.
So, slight disclaimer as always, this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare practitioner, ideally a clinical herbalist or your doctor, before starting any new herbal regimen, especially if you are pregnant, nursing on medication, or have any special medical conditions. So, today's episode is E, which is elder, more commonly known as elderflower or elderberry, and we will get to that in the later half of the episode. Although, in a fun little twist, elderberry links into our history story today.
Oh, that's nice.
Last week we talked about ancient Egypt, and it was our non-political break. So now we have to go back and talk about something slightly more political.
More contemporary, I would say.
I think that is what it is, ultimately. It's contemporary, and that means there are people alive who probably remember this happening.
The problem, well, I'm sure there are, yes. But, I mean, yeah, the problem is I'm sure everything we spoke about ancient Egypt was very political to the people of ancient Egypt. But, it's been a bit since then, so I hope we didn't piss off any Egyptians.
Any ancient Egyptians.
Well, modern Egyptians, but I don't think we did. I think we we did a good job.
I do want to take a moment at the top of the episode to again thank everyone who is listening. We are just a little startup podcast. We are obviously very passionate about what we do. We love herbalism and healthcare advocacy, and it just brings me a lot of joy to see our numbers going up even by a little bit. It's heartwarming. It makes me feel like there are people out there who care to listen to us and like what they're hearing. And so if you are listening and you haven't yet, please consider following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you're getting your podcasts. Give us a like and share us, please, with anyone else you think might find our information helpful.
I've started a book about 100 times, and I get about one chapter in. But we're really doing it with this podcast. I think we're going to go all the way to Z, and then
start over again.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of plants in the world, believe it or not, and a lot of history.
Yeah, a lot of history, a lot of plants, a lot of everything. So, and another quick point I wanted to say again, I mentioned this last week, but we're also interested in sharing your guys' stories. If any of you guys out there have any experiences that you'd like to share with herbalism, complementary medicine, or even just, modern medicine, positive, negative, we want to hear from you guys. Share it on the podcast. We'd love to interview people on the podcast. I have a couple of people lined up already that I'm very excited about. So that's something to look forward to. On to the actual historical part of our podcast. Mm-hmm. We are going to be talking about the British miners' strikes. So we have talked about, in the past, communities building formal clinics and publishing manifestos and all of that stuff. Today's story, it's a little grittier and a little dirtier and comes more from more of a domestic place, I would say. So this is going to take place in the UK, in England and Wales mostly. Although I guess there were also some in Scotland, so I won't leave them out. This took place during the 70s and early 80s. The specific, ultimate miners' strike took place in 84 to 85. It was a year long.
Wow.
It was a big strike.
Imagine that, being on strike for a year and you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So obviously, disclaimers or just things to note for the topic that we're about to discuss. We I think I won't speak for we, but I, at least, understand and support a lot of the movement and the reasons behind the strike and obviously, the miners in general, and I support that. However, I know that there's a lot about this topic that you and I will disagree with.
Interesting. Well, I mean, that's good content, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it is, so we're talking about coal miners.
Yes.
Right?
So...
To spoil it.
Yes.
So obviously, on an environmental level, burning coal is bad.
Yes.
But I think we're actually on some level of agreement, although I guess we're going to find out, that, you can't just, fire every miner and be like, okay, enjoy not having food or electricity or house or water. You don't need those, right?
Yes. So, obviously, even though the coal miners were facing a authoritarian Thatcher-run government, ultimately what they were supporting or trying to support was the UK's continued reliance on a non-renewable fossil fuel, a dangerous, deadly job that would kill them ultimately, whether it was from an accident in the mines or an illness caused by breathing in coal dust.
See, though, I do think...
And, killing their families and children with the industrial pollution of it. I wanted to say that there's nuance there. I'm on their side for almost all of this. But what happened is good now.
I don't... No, I mean, I guess we are going to butt heads. You're right. I don't know that I like that framing, just because, mining as a profession has pretty much always sucked. Mm-hmm. I don't think very few people, I think, actually yearn for the mines. Especially the way that we do it. It's usually you go in, it's hot as hell. You get filthy, you're doing hard, heavy labor.
Yeah.
And there's this terrifying, oppressive mountain over you that could at any second, if there's an earthquake or whatever, really get you. And then often, miners are trapped underground for days or weeks waiting for rescue, hoping. So I get that. I don't think any of these people were necessarily they really wanted to be in the mines and keep coal mining alive. They just wanted a job because you need a job to live.
No, I totally agree, and I totally understand. And that's why I'm saying I think that there's nuance. Because ultimately, the UK had to stop coal mining. Had to. It was, first of all, It was running out. They were running out. They'd been coal mining for 200 or more years at that point. I mean, just from by 1984, the year of the mine, only 173 coal mines were still producing coal out of 1,000 that had been built, right?
And actually, if you know someone or were yourself related to this whole incident, we would appreciate a comment.
Yeah. I absolutely think that the coal miners were not campaigning to keep coal mining alive.
But they kind of were. I get what you're saying. They were.
Yeah.
But that's because that's their only option.
Yeah.
I think back then it was a lot less acceptable to be listen, we'll stop coal mining, but we still want to live. Mm-hmm. And you gotta find us something to do. So instead they were listen, we're hardworking, we deserve to live, which...
But I mean, yeah, and that's part of the thing that I have here is in the 70s, one of the early strikes involved shutting down of coal mines. They're called collieries, by the way. There's your vocab word of the day. Didn't know that's what it was. Collieries.
Collieries? C-O-L-L-A-R-I-E-S.
Collieries. C-O-L-L-I-E-R-I-E-S. Collieries.
Collieries. Why?
I assume it's French. It kind of looks a little French.
Oh, well, don't
Because if you pronounced it in French, it'd be like collier, which sounds like coal more.
I don't think you're allowed to say that. There's no French in the English language, actually.
Okay. Anyway, in one of the earlier strikes in the 70s, they were shutting down a lot of collieries. And the mining union went to the government and said, you have to help these miners. And the government worked with the miners to find them alternate employment.
Which is great. But even that is okay, right? That's good. I like that. That is good.
I mean, that should be the goal.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we're not going to go full anarcho-communist. But under capitalism, if you have to stop doing something because it is dangerous or because you're running out of the thing, you should be offering free education, free work training, free job help.
But I think part of the problem with this whole thing has been, like, mining is a heavy labor job. In some ways, people do like that. Like, I worked my whole life, for the most part, in offices and things, and sales and all talking, and, like, that actually kind of sucks. I like to get out and use my physical body, especially when I was younger. So I do think that some of what miners were protecting was, like, they don't want to go from, like, their, like, big, buff, doing hard work to, like, now I'm going to sit in an office and do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but I don't think that's, yeah, I agree. But there's plenty of work in construction or in other fields that you can retrain in. Like, there's so many trades, right?
It's true.
We still need electricians. We still need plumbers. We still need all of these things today in the modern day. Like, I firmly support the trades. And I want to be very clear, both of us firmly support trade unions.
Yeah.
Like, we're 100%, 1,000% on the side of tradesmen.
I'm always on the side of
unions.
Of labor. Yeah, always.
But not labor with a capital
Well, not the
L.
Labor Party these days, because they don't like trans people and a bunch of other random things. But yes.
But anyway, yes. So I just wanted to bring in sort of a little bit of nuance, because I can see from the perspective of the coal industry was being subsidized for millions and millions and millions of pounds by the British government for what was essentially a dying industry.
To destroy the environment.
That would ultimately destroy the environment and the health of the people working in that industry.
Yes.
So
I get that. You're right.
That's all I wanted to do. I'm just trying to introduce nuance.
I get that. I do think there is some nuance. I mean, I think some of it, too, is stubbornness. Like, who wants to be told, hi, the thing that you've been doing for your entire life, that your father and your grandfather and your great-grandfather did for their entire life, you're not going to do that anymore. Like, there is some stubbornness there. And that, unfortunately, while it sucks, like, you do just kind of have to get over it,
I mean, honestly, I don't agree with that. That's such toxic patriarchal pride, you know?
But is it toxic?
There were these whole, because it's this whole idea that, like, I mean, first of all, it comes from, like, oh, I'm too old to change. I'm too old to learn.
I do think
I'm too set in my ways. And I think that comes from, there is something toxic about you're not allowed to change and grow. Like, that's such a conservative talking point, right? People who change their minds are wishy-washy or whatever.
I think you're right to some extent, but I also think, like, taking pride in the job that your grandfather did for his whole life isn't bad.
No,
Like, that's like... Because otherwise, what was the point? If he spent his whole life working in a mine, and now you're told, like, actually this has been destroying the environment, and it's bad, and we've got to get rid of it. Like, that hurts, you know?
But I think that's... I can see what you're saying, but I do think that's a more pessimistic way of looking at it. How I would look at it is, wow, my grandfather, who didn't have a high school education, was keeping people warm, was keeping homes lit, and he did that without really knowing or understanding the background of what he was doing. But now that we as a society know better, I shouldn't shame him for what he did. What he did was noble. What he did was hard. And I think that he was a strong person for doing it, but that's like saying, well, my grandfather smoked 20 packs of cigarettes a day for 40 years, so I'm going to do that too. No, we as a society have grown, we have learned, we know better. We look back and we say, it's really too bad that they didn't know, but they did their best.
I mean, the thing is, it's not like they had solar power in the beginning of the industrial era.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, that was helpful. And I think that's a good framing too, right? Like, the coal miners were working because they were doing something useful. Mm-hmm. But then we did have to move on. But I guess what I'm saying is that even though I understand we had to move on, I mean, I wish we could talk to a coal miner, because unfortunately this is outside of my world. I
totally get that. Yeah. I mean, you and I come from a working class family, but it wasn't a trade working class. My dad's work was always in computers and business and technology, so I didn't really have any experience with the trades.
My dad was a business owner, so,
Yeah.
So he did work in that business, so the term that I maybe shouldn't use is petite bourgeoisie. But yeah, it's like, I basically, I was expected to work my whole life, but on the middle to top rung of society.
Yeah. Working rich.
Whereas,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Versus, like,
that's how we think
I was never expected to be busting my ass in a mine. Yeah. So it is hard for me to ascribe these motives to people that, like, I don't really know. Hard. Maybe I'm just extrapolating.
Again, I would absolutely love to hear from anyone who has personal experience with it. I would love to do that. I did, for my research, read a lot of like first-hand accounts. Sources. That's what I like to do, is find primary sources, first-hand sources. I have, excuse me, let me find his name. It was Ian. Like I said, the government had been pumping millions of pounds into subsidizing the coal industry and keeping the price as low as possible. But the coal was running out, and also a lot of automation and industrialization was taking place, meaning that a lot of human bodies could be replaced with robot bodies, which again, I'm kind of a fan of, because human bodies are very squishy and can be destroyed, and robot bodies are much more sturdy and replaceable.
Sure.
So, in the 1970s, the coal miners were building a left-wing community within all of the unions in the UK. They spread information on right to work, anti-apartheid, anti-racist, and anti-fascist campaigns. They marched with the Anti-Nazi League, spread the message of the socialist worker, and supported the Labour Party, which at the time was a pro-union, pro-worker, almost socialist, and accused of being communist. So,
I mean, I do think the truth is even Labour now has a lot of pro-labor policies.
Oh yeah, I mean they
just also hate a bunch of arbitrary minorities.
Yes. Yeah, it's very much like you almost had it.
But I think that this has been by design, right? Because that's how you push people away from being united and together, is that you say, well, what about those people?
Yes, I do think that there has been a propaganda campaign to turn the working class right-wing. I believe that, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, the working class was pretty staunchly to the left. Maybe not fully left, but they were that way. They wanted equality. They wanted women's rights. They wanted, they were against racism. The Black Panthers were working class, So I do think that there was this staunch movement of splitting the working class into separate groups and indoctrinating them into more right-wing propaganda.
Yeah.
Because, one of the things, too, is that, it is about uniting, because the work unions were supporting, like I said, anti-apartheid, anti-racism. They marched with Black Panthers. They marched with the gay and lesbian community. The Women's Liberation Front marched with the unions.
I know this is a different thing, but the rednecks in America is like a term that we use in America to basically mean like, it's honestly offensive in some ways. It's like uneducated, out in the middle of nowhere, like...
Country bumpkin.
Yeah, exactly. But that actually comes from they were wearing like red bandanas because they were part of the explicitly communist movement.
Is that? I
Yes.
thought there was another one that said it's because, they get sunburned because they don't know how to wear
I mean, maybe it's both.
on the back of their necks.
I only have approximate knowledge of many things, so I might be wrong.
It could
but
be
that's,
both.
to my understanding, that was why.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, back then, I think they would have been quite supportive of me for being trans when that term was initially coined.
Yes,
but now
I mean,
people who are the same people that we would call rednecks, if I were to go into that area, I think I'd be getting some scary looks.
that is the problem, right? Because yes, again, Ian, whose last name I don't remember, whose interview I read, said that the most popular pin that they sold to raise funds was a pink triangle saying
Wow.
gay and lesbians for minors.
And this was in 1970 and 1980.
Yeah, 1984.
I mean, that's incredible.
So they, it was
They
very...
had a lot of solidarity and community.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing, too, right? Like, all of that solidarity and community was broken up when they all had to switch careers. Because they weren't all going into the same thing.
Yes.
So that's also probably part of why they were like, I want to just keep doing what I'm doing so that I don't lose every friend I've known for my entire life.
Yeah, that is understandable. So, obviously in the 70s, most of Britain's electricity was produced by coal-burning power stations. 1972, 1973, and 1974, the union, and many unions, there was a nurses' strike, there was a railway workers' strike. Many of the unions were calling for pay increases because pay had not been increased in many years. In a line with inflation. They were calling for benefits increases. The miners wanted better pensions because you have to retire kind of early as a miner.
Because you get sick, because it's hard and horrible, toxic work.
Yeah. So they striked.
I think it is.
They
strike.
picketed.
Picketed.
There
That's
we
good.
go.
There you go.
They picketed in 72, 73, and successfully got wage increases as well as a midday break, which they had not been entitled to.
Imagine working
12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts, no break,
Yeah.
in a mine.
Yeah. So the Tory government at the time put a lot of work into painting the miners as greedy bullies. They were painting all unions that way. The Rail Workers Union went on strike as well, and a general election ended up being called with the tagline, "Who runs the country?"
Oh, for God's
Basically,
sake.
like, it was the Tories versus the union.
Yeah.
The Conservative Party's manifesto was entitled Firm Action for a Fair Britain. According to the manifesto, there were a small number of militant extremists who were manipulating and abusing their union power to cause incalculable damage to the country and to the fabric of our society. There were ominous references to a danger from within, and militant trade union demands are linked to high inflation.
And again, the unfair demands that they were making that would destroy society was getting a break in the middle of a 12-hour mining shift.
And a 12% wage increase.
This is why we need to talk to a miner, right? Because it's all like, if you don't talk to a miner, how do you really know anything? It all gets filtered through this media, which is just lying.
Well, that's why I tried to find, when I do my research, I try to find as many primary sources as possible, because I do think that's very important.
I agree. You do a great job, don't get me wrong.
So, yes, to jump into, again, more political stuff. Warning. Margaret Thatcher.
We will be doing the elder halfway through the episode,
Yes.
roughly. So if you don't want to hear it, please go ahead.
Fast forward to talk. We're going to talk about
It's
elderberries
so
and elderflowers.
soothing and
It's so
lovely, yes.
delicious.
Yeah,
Yum, yum.
absolutely.
I got recipes. I have several recipes that I'm going to share. So, anyway, to get back to Margaret Thatcher.
Yes.
So, this successful strike, kind of put her into power. Like, she was voted in because she was known to be more aggressive and was not going to take the union's demands.
But that's because this was the strike that lasted a year, right?
No. We haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving the background.
Sure.
So when Thatcher's government came into power, the miners all, accurately, believed that she was coming for them. She planned to close inefficient pits and wanted to import the majority of coal, oil, and gas into Britain. Now, this is another thing where I want to introduce some nuance. Because the other big thing that Margaret Thatcher wanted was nuclear power plants. She was trying to push for, we're going to shut down the coal mines, but we're going to build nuclear power plants, so we won't be reliant on this imported coal and oil forever.
But is there uranium in the UK? They were getting it out of Australia.
They would have to,
right?
Sure, they'd have to import all of the stuff to build the power plants, but once it was there, it was going to be Britain producing the power for itself, right?
Sure.
The problem with importing is that if an insane orange man declares war on a country somewhere,
yeah, that's
suddenly
true.
you don't have any oil.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I am extremely pro-nuclear power in 1980. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Unfortunately, most of the left-wing people were extremely anti-nuclear. The unions were anti-nuclear power, and they were nuclear disarmament fans, and there was a big, strong link, unfortunately, between nuclear power and the Soviet Union, who we were in a big not war with.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, yeah, that's a downside to me, because nuclear power is fine. We know now it's fine.
It is and it isn't. I mean, the thing is, if we had gone to nuclear power fully in 1960 or 1980 or even 2000, we wouldn't be in the middle of a climate crisis, in all honesty, right? So I am very for it in that way. But I do also think, like, the whole Chernobyl incident happened basically because the government was cutting corners. And what government doesn't?
Yes, that is the other downside, right? Would I trust Margaret Thatcher to build nuclear power plants?
No, not at all.
Absolutely not.
Not even a little bit.
So I do understand, again, why this was considered bad. And we didn't have the renewable resources that we now have available. So from that aspect, I also look at the coal miners who are like, what are you doing? We got coal here. Why are we going to order it from them or build power plants that are going to explode and kill us all? So, again, just introducing some nuance.
I mean, I know we watched that miniseries, but just a little tidbit also a bit unrelated.
It was a good miniseries, too. Highly recommend Chernobyl.
The big reason that Chernobyl blew up is that there's basically a pull the plug that you can do if the reactor's about to blow up. And actually, the way that they had built their reactors, when you pulled the plug, it made it blow up even harder. And they knew that and just didn't tell anybody about it.
And actively suppressed that information.
And the only reason that this was an issue is because it was cheaper to basically make it so that when you unplug the thing that's about to blow up, it blows up even harder, versus making it so that it actually works. So, do I think that Maggie Thatcher's nuclear power plants could have potentially caused an enormous disaster? Yes, absolutely. Because I could very easily see Margaret Thatcher being like, safety, workers' safety, we don't need any of that. That costs money that I would rather have.
Yes. But again, this is just me introducing nuance.
Yeah.
It's, again, very understandable and based on the information they had at the time.
Yes.
I mean, Chernobyl happened in 81, or was it in 79?
Yeah, you're right. It was, I don't remember, actually. You'd have to Google it.
It happened very close to this. It was in the 80s,
yes, because that's one of the big reasons.
It was very early 80s.
That's one of the big reasons that the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yes.
It basically blew up Ukraine.
Yeah.
Dusted it with a little bit of lovely radioactive material.
Yeah, so I can understand someone hearing on the news, everyone almost died. The whole world was almost destroyed. And Margaret Thatcher now wants to build some of those.
That is also fair, yes. If I was 5 years out from Chernobyl, I would be like, I'll see you in hell before I let you build a nuclear reactor ever again anywhere.
Yeah. So another big thing that all of the coal miners were kind of in agreement was about the Falklands War. So the whole idea is, like most working class groups, you go work in the mines or you join the military. It was an alternative employment, basically. The military, as we know, is a recruitment for young, poor men who don't want to go into the mines or into steel work or into the railroad or whatever.
I think it is unironically service guarantees citizenship. Like, obviously, we're all actually citizens, but functionally, if you're poor and you join the military, now you're not poor.
Exactly. So a lot of coal miners were seeing sons and brothers being sent off on a pointless war for a piece of rock at the other end of the planet.
Oh, funnily enough, this is what we're going to disagree on.
That is a quote from one of the miners.
Huh. I actually think that Falklands 100% belongs to the UK.
Okay.
And because the people there don't want to be part of Argentina.
I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just saying this is another thing that pissed off the coal miners.
That's fair.
Because a lot of these men had fathers who came from World War II.
And now they're fighting over the Falklands.
Yes. So they're like, there were Nazis. We wanted to go fight the Nazis.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
I do get that, but I don't know. I actually don't agree with that. I think, if even 50 people are like, I don't want to be invaded by a foreign government, I think it's actually a good thing to be like, we should defend them.
I get it. I like I said, I understand.
I mean, the thing is, too, like, they were being led by Margaret Thatcher. As much as I agree with that principle, if Donald Trump was to tell me, you're going to go to war against, for example, Iran in order to overthrow their evil government, I'd be like, are we, though? Are we going to overthrow their evil government or replace it with an even eviler one?
Yes. So all of that was set up, background for the situation. We're going to make a slight jump of topic.
Okay.
To something that will become relevant. In 1972, a very popular book was published by Richard Mabey called Food for Free. The cover of this book, in fact, features a beautiful image of the elderberry. He would go on to publish Plants with a Purpose in 1977, the Roadside Wildlife Book in 1978, The Common Ground in 1980, and Back to the Roots in 1983. All of these basically showing how you could harvest and forage from wild Britain.
Who is this again?
Richard Mabey.
Who is he's a coal miner or
No. He was just a naturalist who was trying to share information about like wild edible plants and harvestables in Britain.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, basically,
yes.
right?
And it was kind of a reflection of the time. Back in World War II, during the height of rationing, a lot of women were foraging heavily in the UK in order to supplement diet.
Which is for a tragic reason, but what a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Right?
Rosehip syrup and elderberry syrup were both kind of invented during this time and being heavily used in order to give children vitamin C boosts that they weren't getting from fresh fruit and veg because there wasn't any.
Blockade, yeah.
So that
U-boats.
movement was in the war, right? And then it kind of died out afterwards, especially with industrialization. So now we come into the 70s and the 80s, and it's sort of making a revival, right?
I love that.
Yeah, it's the movement returned, especially among the working class wives of miners and other workers who didn't have extra money.
Well, also, we just live in this beautiful natural world. We should be a part of it. Like, for me, a lot of what I eat even, it comes in, like, plastic wrapping, and it doesn't even resemble what it's come from half the time. And it's like, what is this?
That's so funny that you say that, because that's literally in the introduction of the Food for Free. Richard maybe talks about how separated we are from the source of our food, how we don't know what it looks like on a plant, how we don't know, like I grew tomatoes, and I cannot describe how different a tomato tastes picked off of the vine. And
that you made. And
Yeah.
you know that this is like a plant, and here's what it looks like, and this is coming from nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's a totally different experience than, like, here's your plastic cube, And also we cut it up for you so
Yeah.
it doesn't actually look like a thing that exists in the world. It looks like food cube.
Yeah, I will say the UK experience of this is much different than the US, because the US during World War II had much of its own food,
Yeah.
right? But a lot of things were coming from outside of Britain in terms of like fresh fruit that didn't grow in Britain, and a lot of those things. So I do think that in the U.S. we had a lot more like victory gardens where a lot of people were growing their own plants. And I know that they had a lot of victory gardens here in the UK as well. And that kind of the allotment movement sort of started at this time when they were trying to, grow food in London for people to eat, because there wasn't any. But also this foraging was like super heavy. And it's definitely going to be a future episode. We're going to talk about foraging during World War II. So I think that'll be an interesting topic. Couple of other things. In 1980, conservatives passed the Social Security Act, which removed the rights to benefits for striking miners, or any strikers, actually. Anyone on strike from a union.
Was this in the middle of a strike?
It was after the 70s strike.
Oh, after the 70s strike.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So the strikes happened in the 70s, and they were successful. And now the Social Security Act of 1980 removed their rights to any government benefits for the duration of the strike.
They were actually... Oh, but government benefits.
Yes.
So this was taking them off the NHS and stuff? Is that what it's saying?
I think they still got the NHS, but you were basically entitled to unemployment.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating.
Social Security benefits.
God, imagine. And it wasn't even that long ago. Oh, this was 40 years ago. You got you got paid if you striked. That's incredible. And then they took it away, basically.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, so the idea behind a union is when you're striking, the union pays your wages. They could get supplemental Social Security benefits because the union only paid like 70% of your wages.
But is this like if you lost a hand, basically?
Yeah.
In the mine. Mm-hmm. The government was paying something because you lost a hand mining, and then they were like, psych. That's sick.
Yeah. Another law that was passed around this time, 1981, the Wildlife and Countryside Act was passed, which laid out plants that are protected and stated, quote, if any person intentionally picks, uproots, or destroys any wild plant included in Schedule 8, or, not being an authorized person, intentionally uproots any wild plant not included in that schedule, he shall be guilty of an offense.
When was this? This was
1981.
81. Is this still on the books?
Yes. It's been increased as well, actually.
So it's actually illegal to forage.
If the plant is on the list.
What plants are on the list?
A few that I picked out from the list are thistle, cinquefoil, Killarney fern, gentian, sea knot grass, a variety of lavender, marshmallow root, fen violet, wormwood, and elderberry.
You can't forage thistle. Thistle is everywhere. What was their excuse for that? They just said that you can't do it anymore?
Protected plants. Can't do it without permission.
But it's all over the place, so it's not like it's gonna die out. But now you just can't. You're just not allowed.
Not without permission of the landowner.
With permission of the landowner, you can do it. Okay, so they're basically just saying that was their excuse. They're like, we're just giving landowners more control over the crops on their the thistle on their land that they're definitely going to use.
All of the plants that I just listed, by the way, are either edible or medicinal in nature and had been wild foraged since World War II in order to supplement diet and health.
But you also can't. So if I'm in like a park and I see some thistle in like some underbrush in the little bit of
it has
woods,
to be the specific type of thistle that's listed on the Schedule 8. I didn't get the species.
Sure, but if I'm in the park and I see any of those things that you listed that have been foraged for millennia, I can't pick it or I'm breaking the law.
Yeah, especially if it's a public park. If it's owned by the Crown, you can't.
So then what's their justification for that? Just psych?
I don't know what the real argument was. In my head, it's we don't want people to go find food.
That's awful.
I know that that's probably a conspiracy theory, but I can't help but notice that this law was passed in 1981.
right after all these strikes and just before another big one.
Yes.
Yeah. So so the last time people had been big into foraging is when there was a war. Mm-hmm. And the next time that they were big into foraging was when they were working really hard jobs and the government hated them.
Yeah. So finally,
Wow.
finally in March of 1984, the government started shutting down mines as they had announced, and the miners officially went on strike. This was a year-long struggle where families faced immense hardship with no income and often were cut off from support systems. So there were no benefits to miners striking and to their dependents. They cut off access. If you were the wife or children of a miner who was on strike, you could not access any money from the government.
I don't know what to say about that. Honestly.
After just 3 weeks on strike, Yorkshire miner Stan Whitworth said that food was already being rationed. I'm not going to try a Yorkshire accent. Don't worry.
Please don't do that.
Everybody's had to cut back. There's no money coming into the house. We've got to live on, more or less, fresh air. It's hitting everyone very hard. But the resolve to continue the strike was clear. Miners would stick it out as long as needs be, he said, even with no money.
This is like a famine, like an intentional famine. In 1980.
I cannot deny that because one of the sources that I read stated that Margaret Thatcher openly said that she was going to use hunger to get them back to work.
Oh, so they even admitted it.
Yeah, I'll keep going, but there's a bit. I know. Deep breaths.
Deep breaths, for sure.
So the full force of the police, the courts, and the media were mobilized to try and defeat the miners, culminating with the Battle of Orgreave on the 18th of June, 1984. At this time, tens of thousands of miners were arrested, fined, imprisoned, or sacked, and most of them were blacklisted.
Blacklisted from mining.
From a lot of industries related. Basically, if you were blacklisted, you would be refused from the mining industry, but also the transportation industry that was linked to the mining industry, the steel industry, the railway industry, and a few others.
So all of these industries were in collusion, basically, which I would say is an illegal trust, but I guess only if there's punishments, which it doesn't sound like there are.
Well, it was, they were all government-owned, right?
Oh, they were all, I see. So the government was basically like, you're never going to work for us again. Yeah. But was the coal mines government-owned?
Yes.
Ah, I see. Okay,
yes.
I didn't fully understand that.
Yeah, this was all publicized industries.
I see.
Here's a rather disgusting quote from someone else.
Oh, boy.
Especially the way the police treated us. One day, I was pushing my daughter in her pram down the street, and a police van pulled up. The coppers shouted at me, "Hey you, Mitchell, we're going to get you. We're going to beat you up and rape your wife."
Oh my god. And this was 1984, this was.
When they were striking.
First of all, what an apt year.
Ian Mitchell, by the way, that's the account that I relied on heavily when I was looking at first-hand accounts of miners.
I do know, I think the police got up to some real business before the days of body cameras. But, like, isn't that scary then? That basically, that's how they act when they're not on camera. They're not always on camera, are they?
I know. In the landscape of struggle, community and support networks sprang up to feed thousands. While the men were out picketing, the women were the ones who gathered together. So there was a national group that was formed from all of these various unions called the Women Against Pit Closures, because they were also called pits, the coal mines.
Okay.
The collieries. So I'm going to use collieries, coal mines, and pits interchangeably.
I think we might want to say pits in all honesty, because I bet you that's what they called it.
That's what the miners called it.
I bet you the owners called it the collieries, because that is some little bit of knowledge I have, is that a lot of, like, basically when the Normans came in, the French-speaking Normans, and took over the country in 1066, all of the, like, the how do I put this? Beef is French, but cow is English. So the person raising the cow is an English-speaking
Well, that's very
peasant.
common. The rich...
And then the meat that comes out of the cow
yeah.
is the French Norman word.
I mean, that's very common. I mean, the Romans did the same thing. If you were a Roman conqueror, you spoke Latin.
They all spoke Latin.
Right, but I'm just saying they didn't spread... They spread Latin, but the working class still didn't speak Latin.
Latin? No, they did.
I mean, they
killed everybody who didn't.
Oh, wow.
That's what Caesar
the Greeks
basically...
still spoke Greek when the Romans...
Greek was the only other one that was allowed. They didn't have racism the way we do. Their whole thing was speaking either Latin or Greek. If you spoke those, you were like a real person, and if you didn't, you weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the Women Against Pit Closures fundraised, fed miners, families, and communities, took places on picket lines, marched, organized events, meetings, and rallies, and spoke in support of the strike, including being invited to speak to trade unionists in France, Germany, and Russia. So these women were basically traveling the country while the men picketed it at the mines, spoke to government officials, collected money.
Kept their families alive in the middle of this intentionally manufactured famine.
Yeah. So run almost entirely by the miners' wives, soup kitchens were opened and ration bags distributed, which kept communities from starvation. In South Wales, one support group, the Gwent Food Fund, distributed 3,500 food bags a week, every week, during the entire length of the strike.
I mean, that's wonderful, though. Basically, they all got together and they were like, they're going to starve us? Nuh-uh. We'll work together and make sure we get through this.
Yes. Food and funds also came from trade unions around the world. In October of 1984, 400 tons of food came from France and 200 tons from Denmark. The government tried to hold this food up in customs to prevent it from reaching the miners, claiming that due to the Cold War with the Soviet Union, the food products were possibly poisoned or hiding weapons.
I mean, that part sucks, but the first part makes me tear up almost, honestly. Because basically, it is really... What's the difference between you and a worker in France and in Iran or any other country versus, we're all supposed to be part of this team that is the UK or the US or whatever. And it's like... You have a lot more in common with...
arbitrary delineation.
Yes, you have a lot more in common... If you're listening to this podcast, almost certainly with workers in other foreign countries who speak totally different languages. And that's really beautiful that the people in France and what was the other one?
France, Germany, Scandinavia, Denmark, and the Soviet Union all donated money. And food. Food specifically.
Food specifically. Well. I mean, that's incredible, too, because this also... this is 40 years after World War II. People were still alive. They still remembered it. And the Germans, who had been in a great big war, still were willing to... And
who had an economic, depression still.
In the 80s, they were still recovering. And they were still,
Yeah, because Berlin was still... The Berlin Wall went down in 89.
Yeah, for our fellow workers, we'll help and give them what we can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. I really do. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. I mean, it's sick that the government then makes some excuse about how, there might be poison in it, so we can't give it to you.
Yeah.
While also openly admitting that they're trying to starve them. How could you get away with that?
I mean, Thatcher didn't admit this at the time.
Oh, this was afterwards.
This was found afterwards, yeah.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah. Sort of released after the fact. So the strike went on for a full year through the summer and into the fall and winter. In November of 1984, the government cut benefits even further and removed coal concessions, meaning miners and their families were no longer allowed coal to heat their homes. Just before winter.
Oh, they, psych, it's getting colder, actually we're taking the fuel away.
Yes, miners were getting arrested for what was called picking, meaning they would go to the coal mine and try and scrounge in the dirt scrap pieces of coal to heat their houses.
And you get arrested for that.
Mm-hmm. And fired if you were,
I mean, I know in the U.S. that they lock up, like, trash bins so homeless people can't eat out of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the cruelest thing I can imagine.
Yeah,
that it's like, we're not going to use this. This is trash to us, but you can't have it. And if you try to take it, we'll beat you up, we'll arrest you, we'll throw you in jail.
Yeah, there was one firsthand account of a guy who was talking about how he and his family ate dinner off of orange crates because they had chopped up all of their furniture to burn in the furnace.
Talk about the courage, too, though. So in the middle of all of this, government is starving them. They're making it illegal to go forage, which it still is on the books. They're beating you up if you pick through trash to keep yourself alive. They're like, then I'm going to burn my furniture. I'll see you in hell.
Yeah. In addition, nurses at this time were calling for sympathy strikes, as they had also been campaigning for a pay rise. So this meant that the miners, in solidarity, stopped going to the NHS and used community resources in order to not cross the picket line.
I like that, too.
The nurses came to the pit to talk to the lads, and Steve said to one of them, "Is that a picket line?" At first, she didn't get it, but then Steve added, "If that's a picket line, we're not crossing." So the entire morning shift walked out. Then, when the afternoon shift heard about it, they walked out, even though the nurses had already left by then. The night shift walked out as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so they would refuse medical care on purpose.
Yeah, so that the nurses would also get paid like a reasonable wage, basically. Mm-hmm. I mean, wow.
So that is when we finally get into the herbalism and medicine portion of this story.
What did the government do after that? Is that when it finally gave up, basically, or no?
No, unfortunately, the miners lost the strike in the end.
After a year-long strike.
Yeah.
Well, they were being starved and frozen.
The government was offering bonuses for scabs and people who crossed the picket line of some up to £5,000 in 1984 money.
Yes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So they basically said, we don't have enough money to pay the wages that you want. Mm-hmm. And actually, we're going to starve you and freeze you to death if you try to get paid, what was it, a 12% increase they wanted? If you tried to get paid 12% more.
Well, the 1984 strike was specifically about the pits being closed. There was no longer pay rises because they were just shutting down pits. But
well, then what were the scabs doing?
Working. They were some pits were still being kept open. But in solidarity, every pit went on strike, right?
Yeah.
So the government said, we're closing down these 20 pits.
And every pit.
Every pit went on strike. So the government's like, the rest of you have to get back to work.
And basically they said, we don't really have the money to give you anything. Except actually we have a ton of money as long as you break your solidarity with each other. Yeah. Way more than you than you were even asking for in the first place.
Yeah.
But, now that it's about killing you, there's infinite money.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
So, in the late summer and autumn, as the strike went on, the hedgerows would be heavy with black elderberries. Mm-hmm. Miners' wives and children would go in and gather them and bring them back to kitchens where they would make elderberry syrups and cordials.
Oh, I love that. That's lovely.
So, this isn't just like a treat. These were like vital, accessible ways to bolster their immune systems when stress, poor nutrition, and the approaching winter made everybody really vulnerable to colds and the flu.
Because it has vitamin C in it, basically.
So much more. That's where we're getting into elderberry
today. Please, go ahead.
We're going into elderberry today. But another good quote from Ian Mitchell, which goes in to talk about the LGBTQ community. All the divisions in society just melted away because people saw the importance of unity. They started to really understand who the enemy was and who were their friends. Youth whose parents came from India started turning up on the picket lines with curries. When we talked to them about police brutality, they said, "Tell us about it." The LGBTQ community in London, who built links with the Welsh miners, challenged homophobia. The role of women and support groups, all those divisive ideas about racism, sexism, and homophobia, they just didn't make sense. The best-selling badge at our pit was a pink triangle saying gays support the miners.
That's amazing. And this was in 1984. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. The elderberry syrup and rosehip syrup were extremely popular forms of basically hedgerow medicine, but also they were a treat. I said,
delicious.
The mining strikes went in through Christmas and winter, and there was one story I read of a miner who was talking about how a bunch of women all came together and used elderberry and honey to make candies for the children because they couldn't afford to buy them any Christmas candy that year. So they made, like, elderberry hard candy.
Were they were foraging the honey as well?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about foraging the honey.
That they had, basically.
They might have gotten
They had a little bit.
Yeah.
So they saved for the children for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. So, it's...
Tell me about it. I mean, that's the... Oh, another thing I maybe shouldn't say... But I've often heard it said that fascism is colonialism turned inwards. Food for thought.
It is definitely. So that's basically, I didn't really get into sort of the sad ending. It is a sad ending, unfortunately. Like I said, the miners held out for really as long as they possibly could. But yeah, they, like I said, had no money coming in. Their support was being cut off. The union was sued by the government multiple times, meaning that the money that the union had stored to pay the workers was taken, essentially. There was one where they were fined £200,000 for not having the correct ballots for the strike vote.
So basically, a bunch of excuses were made to steal all of their money.
Yes. Yeah, so the union was drained of all of its funding.
They should have just dispersed it. They should have just given it to everyone immediately.
That was another problem, actually. They tried to hide it by moving it overseas. And unfortunately, in doing so, sent a lot of it to Libya.
Oh, no.
And so that became a whole snafu as well that they got in big trouble and were fined additionally for.
Yeah, great.
So...
Well, I wonder why they sent it to Libya. I mean, Gaddafi was a scumbag, but Libya, was very worker-friendly, I guess.
Yeah, but even a lot of the miners were upset about the whole thing because of, human rights violations and...
Yeah.
All of that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Well, I probably would be, too. What I know about Libya, it's incredible because it was demonized to me for so long. Mm-hmm. But it actually had, I think, the highest standard of living, or among the highest. And it shot up under Gaddafi, basically. But he was also, like, a tyrannical dictator.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit of, like, wow, that's so nice that workers' rights were so great there. And, also he, like, killed a lot of political prisoners.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So there were some controversies with Arthur Scargill, who was the head of the National Miners Union in Britain. He kind of was sometimes a little too militant, which was obviously good. Because, he was like, we're going to keep fighting to the last man, and you can't get blood out of a stone, and all this other good stuff, which, rah-rah. But he also was, a little bit threatening people's, MPs' lives and things like that. And it made a lot of people unhappy, and he was demonized in the press.
Yeah.
And even the miners themselves were like, bro, you can't say that, bro. You got to stop, bro.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, imagine how angry you would be if you're being starved and cops are saying they're going to rape your wife, and you're being intentionally starved, even of resources coming from other countries, from ostensibly what you are told are your enemies.
Yeah.
And your long historical rivals.
Yeah.
And then, they make it illegal to go get food out in the wilderness, even though you've done that for the past all of time.
Yeah, I mean, we have history going back to the Middle Ages. We have paleontological history.
I get, obviously, you shouldn't advocate violence. But, even in my own life, often it's hard for me to, in the moment, when I'm peeved, I often say things that I don't really believe. And unfortunately, when you're being attacked by the rulers of society, basically, every time you do something like that, that's front page news.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You, in a moment of fury, as you look at a starving child that is dying for no reason, say something naughty, and now it's front page news.
Yeah.
Whether you meant it or not.
Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, the miners' strike sort of fizzled out, basically. Just more and more people ended up going to work. At some point, anyone who was still on strike was just fired. And like I said, a lot of them ended up blacklisted from numerous industries. The Ian Mitchell, the gentleman who I read a really good article on, I'm definitely going to share this in the description of the... So you guys can read his firsthand account. He grew up, he left secondary school to go work in the mine. His dad had been a steel worker who had been laid off during the steel strikes. And he became very much a voice, a political voice during this time period. And unfortunately, because of that, he was eventually laid off and blacklisted from many industries, which he didn't even find out he was blacklisted until very much later. He was just like, wow, can't find a job. That's weird.
Yeah, it's like a shadow ban, right? They don't tell you.
Yeah,
it's just
and then,
secret.
Yeah, he ended up working as like a porter for the NHS, like some really low-level job.
Well, whatever he could get so
Yeah.
he could live.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was kind of a sad ending, unfortunately, but I didn't want to get too far into it because I really wanted to focus on just the community and the solidarity that was built. Like
across nations, even.
Across nations,
across
exactly.
the world, across recent enemies.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
And I mean, if you were 60 years old at the time, you were 20 during World War II, basically.
Yeah.
And then those people, the German people, were sending you food so that you could survive.
Yeah.
And your own government had put you in the conditions that you were in when the Germans were bombing you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There was more than enough food.
Yeah.
But you are not allowed to have any of it.
And then later she admits that was the strategy, was to kill them, basically. To force them to work or die of starvation.
I mean, unfortunately, that backfired on her, I think, quite a bit because the sympathy for starving children.
But you say, very fortunately.
Is one of the things. Well, I mean, unfortunate for her. It was basically one of the events that led to her eventual, downfall and the removal of a Tory government. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just really wanted to focus on the community portion of it. I think it's so great. I mean, obviously, they didn't have a lot of herbal medicine knowledge at the time, but they were doing their best with what they had. And like I said, I'll definitely get into this in the World War II subject matter, but there was a history of women going out and gathering rosehip and gathering elderberry and making it into syrups and cordials and candy and all of these things at a time when resources were very short. They were trying to make their children's lives better, their health better, taking care of themselves and each other.
By using the resources that are
naturally growing
all around us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would strongly recommend to anyone in Britain to look for the Food for Free book as well. I picked up a copy. Definitely I'm going to share this article about the interview with Ian Mitchell, and I would love to hear from any of you guys if you have personal connections to any of this. Like, it was happening all across the UK in the 80s, and I know there's a lot of people alive in the 80s still alive today.
And this is why I say, too, because I didn't know most of this. Actually, I knew almost nothing about any of this, to be honest. But, this is what I mean in that, obviously, from an environmentally friendly perspective, we shouldn't be mining and burning coal. But imagine even if you're able to acknowledge that as a miner, like, this is the community that you had that you needed in order to survive when the government was intentionally trying to murder you.
Yeah, and that was part of what they were talking about with the fizzle out. Basically, all of the best miners, personality-wise, had all been on strike, right? Mm-hmm. So the first people to go back were the people who were not nice.
Very nice, yeah.
So you ended up going back to either completely different miners because they'd been hired on fresh.
And the community was destroyed.
Yeah. And he, Ian Mitchell talked about, like, he went back to a mine after, just for a little while before he was fired, and there was no recognizable faces.
Wow.
You know? So
I mean, I do think that the powers that be really don't like when workers, especially across national borders, support each other. So they were probably coughing blood. That's why it got so excessive, because it's like, you know, what's next? If these people are willing to work together to survive without our authority and control. This is what I mean, and, like, I get heated, because that was just, like, really upsetting, and in the end, you're right. There's what justice was done, basically.
There were some of those miners that were arrested that got life in prison. And
they're probably still there. Some of them.
I don't know if they're still. I know that there's an Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign. Again, I didn't dig too far into it, but yeah, it was not great.
Well,
Scotland, though, did do a general pardon.
Well, that's good, at least.
For all the miners.
I mean, we can only do better, right? Like, learning all this history and the atrocities.
Yeah.
Like, as sad as it is.
Right?
Because I mentioned this before, right? Sometimes you have to hurt to heal. Like, I didn't know any of this, but now knowing this, it's like, what can we learn from this? We learn that working with other workers from other countries will support you.
Yeah.
That, you know, your own community is super important, that you need that. That's the most important way that you will survive when governments are smacking people around, whether it be through war or through strike breaking or legislation or anything.
Yeah.
You can survive when you're part of your community.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all good stuff. Mm-hmm. But, now we can move into the more positive part of the episode, I guess, which is the elder.
Yes. So part of the reason I chose this story was the heavy emphasis on elderberry as part of the miners' medicinal cabinet. And this is our E episode, so elder. A big list of alternate names. Hilder, Hillentree, Eldrum, Elhorn, Hollander, Sorrow, Pipe Tree, Boar Tree, Bower Tree, Black Elder, Common Elder. The elder has quite a lot of folklore attached to it. A very fun thing. The tree's Latin name is Sambucus. The black elderberry is Sambucus nigra. There's some other Sambucuses out there.
Sambucai.
But that was the one that's the most common here in the UK anyway. And those are the ones that I have in my herbal cabinet. Early folklore says the elder tree gave protection from witches. Russians believe that it gives protections from evil spirits, and people from the Bohemia region believed that it can be used to make a spell to take away fevers.
Well, it definitely doesn't give protection from witches. I can say that because I love elderflower and elderberries.
And we're still married.
And we're still married, yeah. So,
in England, it was believed that if you could tie an elder twig in 3 or 4 knots and carry it with you, it would act as a charm to drive away rheumatism.
Okay.
People gave the elder enormous respect because they could always rely upon its invaluable help in times of emergency. In Greek mythology, the elder tree was linked to the goddess of the harvest, Demeter. In fact, the tree's Latin name, Sambucus, is thought to be derived from the Greek word sambuke, meaning a musical instrument made from elderwood. Oh. And this ties to another fun piece of Greek mythology. The god Pan, one of the oldest gods in Greek mythology, the god of the countryside, pastures, and forests, portrayed as half man and half goat. had a special relationship with this musical instrument, the sembuke. After falling in love with a nymph who did not return his feelings, he chased her relentlessly through mountains, forests, valleys, and meadows. When she had grown tired and could no longer evade him, she threw herself down at the river's edge and asked her father and sisters for help. Just as Pan was about to wrap his arms around her, she disappeared, transforming into wild reeds. He then made the pan flute out of those reeds. Even in the modern day, Italians make simple pipes called samponia from the hollowed-out elder stems. Throughout
is it the reeds? What does that have to do with the elder? I'm confused.
So elder branches have like a soft middle center that you can. Sorry for the symbol. Sorry. Basically, the elder tube, the branch has a tube.
Okay.
And there's a soft core that you can just poke out with like a stick.
Okay.
And then you have a nice hollow tube reed.
So she turned into an elder tree, basically, is what it sounds like.
Yes.
Man, I wish I could turn into a tree to get away from a man sometimes.
That's not the first time that's happened in Greek mythology either. The laurel tree, which is the bay leaf, the laurel tree, Apollo was chasing some broad. And she was like, please, God, save me from this crazy Greek god. And she turned into a tree to get away from him.
We got to bring this back.
I know.
Why can't I just turn into a tree?
Anytime I'm harassed by a man, turn into a tree. Maybe we could just start doing like...
Yeah, just spontaneously. Well, you could do the martial arts thing and like ground your feet, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Turn into a tree. Plant yourself.
Yeah, well then, but you gotta get your...
And then you can just yell, I'm a tree,
ready.
You can't have me.
I love you.
Whenever confronted by a man in public, just like, tree. Yeah.
If a man is chasing you, creeping you out, whatever, just turn into a tree.
Yeah.
Sounds great. We gotta bring that back.
I agree. Throughout the ages... elder has continued to be revered and used as medicine. In Latvia, they believe that the elder represented the spirit of, here we go, Puškaitis, which is the Baltic elder god, and offered gifts of bread and beer to elder trees. I apologize, by the way, to any people who were offended by my pronunciation. I did try to use Google so that I could pronounce it correctly.
I think you did a great job.
I tried. In Norse folklore, the Hildamor, or Elder Mother, was the spirit of the elder and was believed to be one with the tree, living in it, protecting it from harm, and getting revenge if it was cut down. In Celtic culture, the Elder Mother was associated to the elder and is one of the 22 trees in the Celtic tree alphabet. For a long time, cutting an elder down was forbidden in Ireland for this reason.
Wow.
So, yes, elderberries themselves have been used in herbal remedies for a very, 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 very long time.
See, I love elderflower. You know this about me. Elderflower is a big thing that I really enjoy.
I did focus on the berries here, but it is the same plant. The flowers come first, and they smell really good, they taste really good, you can make a tea out of them, and they carry many of the same properties. And they have a lot of those, what's that word that you shared at the market? The other one.
Phytochemicals?
Yeah, the vocab word you remembered.
Phytochemical, the other word of the day.
I was so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, I try not... I know phyto after you've explained it to me. I know what that means. It's just, it sounds very scientific. It basically just means there's plant shit in it that's good.
Good plant shit.
Good plant shit. But I guess
that should be the tagline for our business. Alchemy. Good plant shit.
That's a bit, more like... it's almost more of a mouthful than phytochemical.
I know.
But I don't really like how scientific phytochemical sounds. I feel like there's got to be a better word, and I just don't know what it is. Nothing wrong with science. I love science. I'm talking into something made through science right now.
Yes.
But we're coming to you through science, right? I love science. I don't want to say that, but I do think, like, especially with what we're trying to do with our business, it is like...
It does. I do feel like some of those words turn people off because they're like, oh, you use too many pharmaceutical words.
It feels separated from nature.
Yeah.
What, phytochemical?
I mean, phyto meaning plant.
Yeah.
It kind of...
Isn't there a nicer way to say, like, good plant shit, though? There's gotta... clearly, I have to invent a word, is what I'm about to do. And I'll just tell people that it's always been a word, and they'll probably believe me. If you have a good... If you know a good word for what I'm talking about, or want to be part of inventing the new word that I'm going to be using now...
Or we'll just get merged with good plant shit.
Good plant shit. That's too long. It's too many syllables, too many words.
Phytochemical, good plant shit.
Phytochemical, good plant... You're right, it's only 3 words. 3 syllables even.
Anyway. Hippocrates...
Oh, back to Hippocrates.
Referred to the elder plant as his medicine chest back in 400 BC. Yes, because of its wide breadth of applications.
Oh, so it's just really good.
The single plant was his whole medicine chest.
Ah, so this is why the miners were using it. Yeah.
It's real good. The Anatomy of Elder by Dr. Martin Blochwich, published in 1644, is another text that goes on about the elder. 1754, the family herbal states the berries could be used to make wine or boiled down with a little sugar to produce the famous Rob of Elder, good for colds and sore throats.
The Rob of Elder?
Yes, the syrup.
They called it the Rob?
Yes. I
don't
know
what that means. Does that mean people
means.
named Robert are like named Syrup Bert? Don't know. My brain is looking for connections because I wanted to offer something of value, but I don't think I had much to say.
Yeah. To get to the phytochemicals and other good bits that we have scientific evidence of, a research paper published in 2019 found that elderberries, when used for the treatment of influenza, exhibited potent antiviral activity and could reduce the entry of the virus into the cells of the body and the transmission of the virus from cell to cell.
This is the syrup.
The elderberry.
The elderberry itself is an antiviral.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It also modulates the inflammatory response of the body. Another crazy fancy words. Other research has shown that elderberry neutralizes distinctive glycoproteins found on the surfaces of viruses like influenza, which inhibits the ability of the virus to replicate.
So basically, that's the scientific process by which it works. But we knew that it worked since forever ago. But I'm glad that they did the research to figure out why. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back in 2022, due to a shortage of Tamiflu available in the U.S. and Europe, elderberry syrup sold the highest amount in modern history.
When was this? Sorry?
2022.
2022. Wow. So it helped against COVID, basically.
Or flu. Tamiflu is a general flu treatment medicine.
But COVID's a virus too, right?
Yeah.
So
it does have coronavirus effectiveness as well. Specifically, it was tested against coronavirus.
That's fascinating.
Yes. So here we go.
So this is because I know what I know, think I know. I don't know that I know this. Is that basically antibiotics, antibacterials? We've got pretty well down. Right,
Mostly.
since penicillin.
Mostly.
Since penicillin, we can pretty much kill bacteria unless they're antibiotic resistant, which unfortunately is beginning to happen.
Yes. Although I forget what episode it was now, but we did talk about cherry being effective against MRSA, or was it dogwood?
I think it was dogwood, actually.
Something was effective against MRSA and staph and streptococcal and a bunch of other antibiotic resistant. So there are still plants out there that have antibiotic resistance.
For sure. But basically...
but antiviral is tough.
Antiviral is what I was going to say. I know our antivirals are not nearly as effective.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, when COVID broke out, for example, we'd all just be taking antivirals, surely, right? It doesn't work that way.
I mean, they didn't even bother because they couldn't touch it. So many of our antivirals couldn't touch it.
But basically, so it did elderberry did help even with that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Here's some more fun words that you can hear me try to pronounce.
And this is a crop that, well, a crop is a plant that grows in hedges all over the UK.
And Europe and America.
And Europe
the United
and America.
States. In fact, the Cherokee Indians have been using elderberry for thousands of years.
So this is a common plant.
Way common.
And we just look right past it sometimes. But also in the UK, you're not allowed to forage for it.
Unless you have permission. Do you have a license for those elderberries?
God. All right.
Elderberries have demonstrated their healing qualities, presenting a great variety of flavones, isoflavones, flavanols, anthocyanins, phenolic acids, lectins, and last but not least, vitamins. This gives elderberries many of the following properties: antiviral activity, potential to stimulate immunity, antioxidant potential, antibacterial activity, anti-tumor potential, an impact on obesity and metabolic dysfunction, antidepressant potential, and anti-diabetic properties. Wow.
I'll be honest, sometimes when I hear that long of a list of things, I am like, is this an ad? But
that
it
was
sounds
proper
like
research done by.
Well, because they're always pushing like superfoods, right? And it's just so that they can.
Yes, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of like sambucol, for example, is a very famous like elderberry lozenge for coughs.
Yeah.
And they have a lot on their page about, oh my God, elderberries are the greatest thing on the planet, and you should be definitely eating a million of them, but only if you buy them from us.
I do think, truthfully, what makes it feel better to me and not go to myself, is this an ad, is the thing you said about Hippocrates, that even back a bazillion years ago was like, this is the medicine chest.
Yes. So the anthocyanins in black elderberry lower LDL cholesterol and are atherosclerosis, while at the same time being rich in antioxidants. The berries have quercetin and vitamin C, which contribute to the therapeutic effect.
So this is how would you take this? Basically, just have a drink of some syrup.
Definitely going to get to that because I got recipes.
Okay, all right.
So,
but when you cook it, does that not reduce its medical? Really?
Yeah, you can heat it for sure. Oh. That is one of the ways to prepare it. And it does not remove, because, so here's the weird thing, right? It's the color. You know how elderberry, super purple, super dark purple, and like blueberries and goji berries, they have all these like this purple and blue and almost like black, like juice and pigment to them.
Well, goji I think is yellow, isn't it?
It's orange.
Yeah.
Pigment, basically.
Sure, but the pigment itself
contains the good stuff. That's why you should be eating dark leafy greens. That's why you should be eating brightly colored varieties of colored fruits and veg.
Red cabbage.
Yes.
Purple cabbage.
Because that is the anthocyanins, the flavonoids, the isoflavones. They're in the pigment of these fruits and vegetables.
See, I know that pigments can also be medicines. This is going to be weird as hell, but I'm going to say it anyway. I told you all in a different episode, I was super into survivalism for a time. I know Prussian blue is basically, you want to, if there's radiation around, you want to pop some Prussian blue.
You want to take it before you come in contact with radiation.
Before you come in contact.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought Prussian blue was even after.
Within the first 24 hours. Before you have to get to it before your thyroid has absorbed the radiation.
Yeah, because then it's too late. Yes. Yeah. But basically it sounds like those deep blues and purples.
In nature, whenever you find those deep blues and purples, they are
good for us.
Incredibly powerful minerals and chemicals.
I have to wonder also because I know that blue and purple in nature are harder to find. So I wonder if maybe it takes a lot out of the plant to make it. But then because it takes a lot out of the plant to make it, the rarity makes it more useful for certain things that we don't have something else for, right?
Yeah.
Because there isn't a lot of things that are purple and blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I should also have some water. That's a great idea. Hydrate. Daily reminder.
So, big warning disclaimer on harvesting and preparing your own elderberry products. Apart from the flowers and the fully ripe fruit, all parts of this shrub contain sambunigrin, a poisonous cyanogenic glycoside, and require special preparation for safe ingestion. Do not attempt to prepare any other part other than the flowers and the berries at home.
Of the elder
the elder tree.
Interesting.
Don't do it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you'll die, so definitely don't do that.
It can make you very sick.
Yeah.
So, that is my big warning. If you are going to be foraging for elderflower and elderberry, that's all you should be processing.
What else even is there? The
branches.
Bark and the branches?
The leaves.
Don't eat sticks. Although, actually, with the dogwood, that is what's useful about it, I guess.
Yes.
So, yeah, that is a good disclaimer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, ripe berries can be cut from the branches in bunches and then should be prepared either directly after harvesting or within the first 48 hours if you're keeping them in the fridge.
Okay.
Only fully ripened black or dark purple-blue fruits should be collected. And this will be from the end of August until September in the UK.
Will it make you sick if you eat the unripened ones?
They're very bitter, and they don't have any of the good stuff in them.
So basically, you can tell, though. You're going to take a bite into it and be like, this sucks.
They go from a very light green to a very dark, rich black.
Yeah. I actually know my mother foraged once in our, entire life. And unfortunately, I was a little brat back then, so I wasn't very nice about it. But basically, she did forage, I can't remember, it was some orange fruit. And I think we were all...
apricots? Or
no,
persimmons?
It was a foraged thing. It was like a juniper or something. Starts with a J, I think. Is that it? Juniper?
I don't know if they're orange.
Anyway, it was some orange fruit, and basically... Or maybe it started with a Q, actually.
Quince.
Quince. That was it. Yes. God, I gave you nothing to go on there. You're so smart.
Orange fruit.
My master herbalist.
I got this.
Yes. Quince. And that tasted god-awful. It was the sourest thing. It was basically inedible.
You're not supposed to eat quince. You're supposed to make it into to pies, tarts, and jam.
Well, I think... I was going to say I thought it was... picked too soon, basically. But it sounds like you're saying it wasn't.
It's not. It's an extremely bitter tart. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very good jam, very good in pies.
I will say that it had a nice sweetness to it, but it was so sour it's hard to describe. So it was basically inedible. And she served that to us, and we gave her more trouble over it than she probably deserved.
Yeah.
Well. But,
yes. So.
Yeah.
This is our little guide. So, you have to remove all of the berries from the stems. A really easy way to do this is actually to pop the stems and berries into the freezer. Let them freeze for about an hour. And then you can just pop them right off the stem or use a comb and just comb it through. Do not keep or use the stems. That's what we're talking about with the cyanogenic glycosides. Bad stuff. So there's a couple of different options now that you have some fresh berries. To make the rob, or syrup, you're going to take your fresh berries and add to a pot with just enough water to cover them. Really, you want a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you have a kilogram of elderberries, which is a crap load, I just realized. If you have 100 grams, yes. If you have 100 grams of elderberries, you're going to do 100 milliliters of water. Or for our American friends, 1 cup of elderberries, 1 cup of water.
Yeah. It's easier. I would say you don't even need to measure it. Just make sure it's covered barely. No more than the top, like making rice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring it to a boil, and then you lower the heat all the way down to allow it to simmer until the whole pot has reduced by half. And you should leave it uncovered while simmering. So then you will remove it from the heat and allow it to cool until it is just barely cool enough to touch. Say about like 60 degrees Celsius or 120 Fahrenheit. Use a cheesecloth or fine mesh strainer to remove any berry solids which are remaining. Most of them should have popped during the whole process, so it's basically just a bunch of skin and any berries left.
Reminds me of making that cranberry sauce I made once.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Yeah. You can throw away the berry corpses.
The berry corpses.
Toss them into the garden compost, obviously, is the best option.
This is the skins, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any of the solids now. Basically, the juice that you've made is all of the good crap of
I like this the solids. When I made that cranberry, I kept it in it.
I mean, you can keep it in there, but it's not going to stay as well preserved in the fridge.
That's fair, yeah. So that if you're going to eat it soon, you can keep the skins, but if you want to preserve it for 6 months, you shouldn't.
No. So 30% by weight, add the sugar of your choice. Honey is the best option.
I love
obviously.
honey. Yeah.
Granulated sugar or agave nectar are acceptable. So 30% by weight. So you're using your original elderberry weight. So again, using, let's say, cups. You have 1 cup of elderberries, which is reduced down to half a cup because you've boiled away most of it.
Most of the water.
You're going to use 1/3 of a cup of honey.
Okay. This is a lot of honey. So half.
Yes.
What did you say? Half a cup of
30%.
30%
of your original elderberry weight
is going to be left.
Is going to be of the sugar product.
And then,
right?
Okay, yeah.
So 100 grams of elderberries, 30 grams, 33
of
grams of honey.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you should also add a couple of spoonfuls of lemon juice. This just helps with the length of time it'll last in the fridge. Adding a little citrus.
A couple of spoonfuls per how much, though? Like, just 1 spoonful for 100 grams?
Yeah, I would say 1 spoonful per, bowl you have. Like, if you're making a giant pot, add 2 or 3 spoonfuls of lemon juice.
I only say this because my wife has to deal with this ordeal. I often cook for a family of 4, she's told me, which I think is fair.
Cook for a family of 7.
Listen.
6 or 7.
I have...
6, 7?
I have... Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
I have an Italian heritage. That's my answer to that.
I know.
So, yes, I would probably, if I were going to make any kind of elderberry syrup, make a mountain of it.
Yes.
Because it's the way I be. But then you can give it out to people and they're so happy.
I agree. It's wonderful. So after you've stirred in the sugar until it's melted completely, you can dole it into airtight jars for storage or any airtight container. It's going to last up to 6 months in the fridge, or you can freeze it and then thaw in the fridge for later. The syrup is pretty much delicious just on a spoon, and is the traditional way that it's been taken. Basically, you dose yourself a spoonful of elderberry syrup, and during a cold, if you do this 2 or 3 times a day, it actually reduces the length of the cold. That's been proven scientifically.
Because it works on viruses even, and bacteria to some extent.
Exactly.
Still go to the doctor, please.
Obviously,
Yes.
If you would like to preserve them for longer, the best method is drying. A minimum heat of 40 degrees Celsius or about 100 to 110 Fahrenheit should be used. Lay the berries out in 1 layer to cook in an oven or a dehydrator until the berries are fully dried. Fully, they should be hard as rocks. They turn into little, pearls. Dried elderberries can be kept for years and maintain their powerful qualities. You can grind them into powder for smoothies. You can infuse them into glycerin or alcohol for tinctures, which is what we do.
Yeah. I just did some of that, actually.
Soak them in tea.
We actually, this might date it a little bit, but we just put in some elderberry in jojoba oil. No, it was glycerin. Sorry.
Yes. So that is what I brought, because I always bring something for us to try.
Oh, but this is the old batch that we made.
No, this is my brand new batch.
Oh, but it hasn't soaked.
Oh, you mean the one you did a refill?
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I meant.
Yes, this is our Hermes immunity tincture.
Yes, but it has stewed for 8 weeks.
Yes.
In the glycerin.
When you put the dried elderberries in, you want to let it infuse for at least 4 weeks, but we do 6 to 8 weeks because I'm extra. So yes, I am shilling our product again, but just because I love it. No, it's linked do it. And I want to show it off.
Yeah.
So the Hermes Immunity Tincture, not only does it have elderberry, but it also has rosehip, echinacea, and ginger. It has a ton of vitamin C. It has all of these amazing antivirals. It has all of the amazing flavonoids. I am going to show off for the camera how delightful the color is.
The elderberry color I love.
You can see how dark this product is.
Yeah.
And that's vegetable glycerin that we use. It's fully clear. So it's a fully clear glycerin. It has been infusing the dried elderberries in it for 6 to 8 weeks. So this is all of those amazing flavonoids and the cyanins and all the things that I can't pronounce and keep saying wrong, and I'm going to get yelled at. Yes. So.
I mean, that is a gorgeous color.
I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, you want me to have?
Dose.
Absolutely. I love elderberry, and I like rosehip too. So.
Yep. Just pop it right in the back and down the hatch it goes.
Well, actually, some of these I don't like to taste so much, I'll be honest, but that one, I didn't put it in the back of my throat, I'll tell you that much. I tasted that.
But
that
was
very
pretty
nice.
good.
It's very nice, yes. It has got a very strong... It's not something I'd want to chug, because it is like...
Well, you only need this much.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't chug it, but I mean, I guess what I mean, it is like a strong... It's got like a nice, a soft sweetness, not overwhelming, not overpowering. A bit of like a sourness, like tartness, actually, I would say. And almost like a, oh God, I struggle to define.
Well, how about I describe what I taste for you, and you can see if that helps.
I would say almost like earthy notes.
Warmth, right?
Warmth, for sure.
That would be from the ginger. The ginger, you can feel sort of the ginger work in your mouth and create sort of an earthy warmth. So, yes, so you have some tartness and some sweetness. Like, obviously, vegetable glycerin is a form of sugar. So you're obviously going to get some basic sweetness from that. But elderberries and rosehip both have their own natural sugars as well, which infuse into it.
It was a mild sweetness, though, right?
Yes,
like
it's
for,
not...
For me, it felt more like an apple. Maybe a little more than an apple, and less than, like, I don't know, like melon.
Yes. So, yeah. I have started taking this myself regularly because I got sick again just last month.
I'm fortunate in that my father is English. I've been to the UK.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Particularly England many times, so I have my immune system's more prepared.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but since we moved to Brighton, maybe it's just because there's more people and I go on the bus a lot, but I don't know. And I do have a worse immune system than you do in the first place. I got hit with COVID really, really bad.
I think, honestly, it's maybe partly that, but I also think... Like, I was here as a child.
Yeah.
I've gained that immunity.
I think that probably helps, too. But, yeah, basically, I've been using this as my immune boost, along with taking my vitamin D and vitamin C supplements.
Well, I will say you haven't gotten sick recently, so I guess it's been helping.
Yeah. Definitely. It's so great. I'm not trying to shill the product.
No, we should shill. I want to shill. Yes, it's a really good product. This is my wife's amazing product.
Thank you. Thank you. It is super high quality. We work really hard to find high quality organic vegetable glycerin. So it's vegan, gluten-free, all that jazz. It's safe for kids. It's safe for pretty much anyone. It's one of the ones that is safe for pregnant nursing moms. This is totally, like, it's really just the herbs and berries infused in glycerin.
And we don't cut
there's
corners.
There's no additives. There's only that. If you look at the ingredients, that's all there is.
We don't cut corners either, honestly. I think I'd like to brag a little bit. We don't cut corners. We have it sit there for, I think we sometimes have it sit there for a little over 8 weeks even.
We do a minimum of 6.
Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks. And that matters, you know?
But it is possible to make this yourself. You can get elderberries.
Absolutely.
You can mix it in with the glycerin. You can let it sit on the shelf. I recommend, if you are going to do that, use a jar that is not clear, because the UV radiation, even just ambient light in your home, can kind of damage it a little bit. So you want to watch out. Amber jars, blue jars, green jars, anything you have. A wine bottle would work because they're dark colors.
I want to shill our lovely product. Don't get me wrong. Because it has more than just the elderberry in it, right? Yes. Rose hip and all these other things, and ginger. But I will say, the actual process of making it, it wasn't that complicated, except that we have so many herbs that we had to do.
Yeah, it's
so if you're only interested after this episode, you're like, I just want the elderberry. Yeah, absolutely. If you can, if you have land, go out and pick it. If you know someone else who has land, ask them for permission, I guess, if you're in the UK.
And dried elderberries are accessible online and in a lot of, like, Whole Food, fancy grocery stores nowadays.
And then you just grind it up and add it to some vegetable glycerin, basically.
Yeah. Another way you can do it is, like I said, alcohol. So the way they used to make tinctures back in the days was brandy.
No, I like that.
But actually, elderberry is, like, really good in alcohol. There's, like, some really... you can
elderberry brandy would go crazy now.
But you could also just do, like, an elderberry vodka. And,
but we can't sell that to people without a lot of licenses that we don't have.
No, but I'm just... These are other recipes I have to share, basically.
But if you're after the immunity, we do have that Hermes immunity booster.
Yes, so we do have it on the website. alchemy.co.uk.
Yes.
You can only get it if you're in the UK, because I can't ship outside the country currently. But yeah.
But keep supporting us. When we get mega big, we'll definitely still do it.
Yes. So the other recipe that I have, or other way that you can use it, is to put elderberries directly into honey. It's basically just another form of infusion. You put the elderberries. What I usually do with the dried elderberries is I give them some wax with my mortar and pestle to break them open a little bit, or you can pop them in the blender, or if you have a food processor, and give them a few pulses. You don't want to turn them into powder, because you want to be able to strain them out again. But you want to break them up a little so that they infuse better.
I remember that. I said a powder, but I shouldn't have, because you actually stopped me from powdering it, because I was about to.
Yeah. So, and then, you can put them in a muslin strainer, a cheesecloth, muslin tea bag, whatever you've got, a strainer, and then you can just let them sit in the honey. Again, I would say at least a few weeks.
Well, surely you could just mix it in with the honey, right?
You can, but I know a lot of people.
Of crispy
you get
elderberry,
little bits,
which I would love, but some people don't.
Some people wouldn't like that if you then went to go drink a cup of tea and you had like a little hard piece of dried elderberry and
dried lovely fruit.
It's not.
I get
lovely.
It. Some people.
The problem is, it's not. You can't pop these in your mouth and eat them. They're like little rock hard like pearls of unpleasantness. That's why I always say to use a cheesecloth or something to strain them out.
That's fair then.
Yeah, elderberry, I will say, if you're making the elderberry syrup and you do have the part where you've just boiled the elderberries with water, that is also a really gorgeous, natural, reddish-purple dye.
Okay.
That one's fun.
You could do like a tie-dye shirt kind of a thing, is what you're saying?
Or just dye, if you have anything, it's just a natural dye.
Would it stick, though?
So what you usually want to do with natural dyes...
So I have a white shirt. Walk me through the whole process.
So you've made your elderberry... You put elderberries...
Syrup.
No, not the whole syrup.
Okay.
Just the first part where I was talking about. You have in a pot elderberries and covered them with water. And now you've boiled it down to reduce by half, right?
Okay.
You take your white shirt and you wash it in vinegar beforehand.
Okay.
Wring it so it's as dry as you can get it by wringing. Drop it in the elderberry. Leave it in there for as long as you want the color to stick.
So the longer the better, or like how long is the right time?
Pull it out every so often, see what it looks like.
But like, are we talking like
This
an
is
hour?
not a science.
10
this
hours?
Is not a science.
10 days?
I cannot tell you. This is your autism coming out.
I need like a recipe.
You need exact recipes. This is not what I am doing here. I am giving you some folksy.
Is it over a day
wisdom.
a good idea, I guess? Because at a certain point,
At
it's
a
going to start
certain
to
point,
rot,
it stops.
right?
But at a certain point, it stops being effective. You probably shouldn't do it for more than a couple hours.
So like, leave it all day. 8 hours.
If you've forgotten about it because you have ADHD. And then there's some chemicals that you can buy from stores that like set dye.
Well, I think we want to keep it natural, so
Yes, vinegar is the best way to do that.
just vinegar.
Yeah.
Just so what? You just mix in like a little bit of vinegar, or?
Just a little bit when you wash it. You want to then like wash it in your washing machine, and then it'll get any of the excess dye out. And it's like a really nice reddish purple, or if it's faint, it's like almost like a pink.
I like that. That's
So,
cute.
That one's fun.
Maybe I could make myself a elderberry tunic or something and bring it in as a prop.
See, here's the problem too with me being ADHD is that I see so many of these things. So many of the herbs that we have, you can make beautiful natural dyes with. So now I'm like, we're getting ready to open the store, and I'm like, what if we also sold like naturally dyed fabric made with our herbal dyes? But then I'm like, Caitlin, stop! Don't get a new hobby.
Well, I'm not sure I want to do like an official "you must wear this or you will be killed" uniform. But when we open the shop, maybe we could offer.
I'm getting aprons for our employees.
Sure, but an apron. But why don't we get a white apron? And then we could say you could either put it in elderberry, or you could put it in this other one, or you could put it in this like rose hip.
Absolutely hippie would it be if we tie-dyed our employees' aprons?
I think that's awesome.
Especially
if it's in natural herbs. I think that's really cool.
Yes. Also, you will be hearing us talk about the shop coming up.
Yeah, we're so excited.
Finally freaking happening.
It's so close. We have 2 possibles that are both.
We're on the verge of signing one of 2 lease options. It is like agonizingly close.
It has been very hard. Opening your own business feels like I'm a striking minor.
It is.
It's like months of just like waiting, and then like frenetic. You have to work like 12 hours in a day.
Hurry up and wait.
And then you wait another week and there's nothing, and you feel like you're terrible and you're wasting your time and you're watching your bank account tick down.
Yeah.
Whew.
So that is very exciting for us. Obviously, we have the online store. We would love if you guys could check it out. alchymis.co.uk. That is also the best way to reach us if you want to talk to us about the podcast or if you have any questions about herbalism. I am a knowledge sharer, so please feel free to reach out and ask. I will do my best to reply and give you resources, or even just, it might just be to recommend a book, because I have at this point like 20 books just the podcast has given me.
What's
to read.
the recommendation?
Food for free
for
is
your
the
email.
one this week. info@alchemy.co.uk.
Okay.
Or the contact page on the website. Both are good options. Also, Instagram @Alchemy Healing. So ALCHYMISHEALING. That is our Instagram page, and you can reach me there directly. DM me. Ask me things. Tell me about your day. Tell me about your experiences with herbalism. We want to get into all that stuff with you guys as well. Like I said, we're going to have guests coming up on the podcast. Like, so much exciting stuff is happening. We signed up to go to a big convention in London in May, which we will be talking about as it gets a little bit closer.
If you're in Brighton, my latest mad scheme, when we finally do a grand opening, which I'll talk about more when it's closer.
Probably in June.
May or June.
Yeah.
I want to have a bunch of pots of curry, and they're free. And you can come, and you don't have to buy anything.
Free food, grand
you can
opening.
Get a free curry. We're going to have the bowls inside, so you have to actually at least come into the store. But other than that, you know, you can just come in, grab a bowl, get out. That's fine, if that's what you want to do, right? And just say hi, you know? Say hi. Maybe you've heard us on the podcast. Say hi. You know, tell us a story if you want, but there's no obligations, no nothing. I wish to channel the Italian energy that I have and just feed a bunch of people.
Feed everybody. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. So that pretty much does it for the podcast episode today. I've shared all of the info. Like I said, love to hear from you guys. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. You can reach us directly on the website. You can reach us through Instagram. Yeah. Any final notes from Cheshire?
We didn't do a meditation this week.
We did not.
But
shared
I will
all those
say
lovely recipes.
My wife and I are going to meditate. We like to do that at the end of every session, just to relax, get ourselves out, prepare.
While you're boiling your elderberry pot.
And the lovely smell.
Yes, you could just kind of hang out in the kitchen and sort of meditate on the power of purple.
Ooh, I love that. That's a tagline. That's
that
good.
Should be our company, because purple is one of the main colors for our brand. The power of purple.
The power of purple. Well, we could put that under it, but maybe at a different time.
Yeah.
When we're a giant mega company.
No.
No, Boo, you don't want to be a giant mega. I don't really either, to be honest. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. See you next week. And this was Common Roots.